Brazil. And I work as a research engineer in the OIE Center in the south of France for Minparitech, PSL University. And last year I was at LCM conference. It was in Lille, I think in the north of France. And there was a gathering, there was some activity related to Brightway, and I participated there. And everything was very new to me. And I asked there, can you please create something like Brightway for Dummies? Because I had no background in programming, and it was very, very difficult from the beginning for me, because I simply don't have the skills. I didn't have the skills, and I still don't. And I can prove that I don't, because you cannot find any information on my talk today, because I didn't know how to upload and how to do the pull request for today's presentation. But I promise you, everything is going to be there, in the future, and everyone can reach out to me as well if they have any questions. So as well, let me see. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about some web app applications that we can use to create web apps, some libraries, and we were introduced to Panel, and it was new to me because when I was searching for how to make a web app on Google, Streamlit was the first thing that appeared on the screen. And we can see the difference between Panel if you look into the main page, how it looks like, and how Streamlit looks like. So Streamlit has these looks that sometimes you need, good looks, in order to be attracted to the tool. And that's what caught my attention. It was very easy to follow and easy to understand. And one of the things is, in my project, I'm working with hydrogen production for prospective scenarios for hydrogen production. So we are supposed to develop a tool and share them with our partners. And for me, it was so overwhelming, the idea of having to share a Jupyter notebooks with them. I wasn't sure if they would know how to do, and if this tool would actually be useful to them in the future. Because maybe they had the same problems as I did. They didn't know how to, do Python or run codes and everything. So I decided that we needed something a little bit more user-friendly to share our projects with them. But at the same time, I didn't want to lose all the things that we managed to do using Brightway and also LCA Algebraic. Okay, so I'm just going to share some content with you here, because since I didn't share them on the official webpage, I'm sharing the link. Hopefully you can click on there and open this file. So this is one example of a web app that was developed by my colleague. My colleague, Rafael, who also is the developer of the LCA Algebraic library, which I'm also pasting here on the chat group. And LCA Algebraic was actually written on the top of Brightway. And the idea is to work with parameterized LCA in an easier way. If you have more information, I'm not here to talk about LCA Algebraic, it's just to let you know that most of my work, the work I developed, it wasn't actually using Brightway directly. I used some functions of Brightway, but mostly LCA Algebraic, because back then I had my colleagues, and when you are in this world, you are very dependent upon your colleagues and your friends to help you out with this, and they were there and they were using this library, so it was the one that I also used. And this is the example of the web app that it was created. This is for a wind farm project. So you can have the results for the LCA here. And you can also choose by the functional unit and impact category. So you can change them and it will automatically update on your display. And you can also change the parameters for your LCA accordingly. and then you see results showing on your screen right there. But this wasn't developed by me. I just brought this as an example for you. I'm also bringing you my example. And Streamlit is usually performed. You create an app. You start by simply creating your project and loading all the databases you need in this file. So for this, you can use Jupyter Notebook. As you can see here, I'm using only LCA Algebraic. I'm initiating the project, and then I'm importing eQuivent there. And you can also import the databases from Excel files and everything, in case you are familiar already with the tools on Brightcon. And the best way to run an Streamlit app is by using not using notebooks, but using some console, such as I'm using PyCharm here. This is the community version. It's not even the professional one. And to run your code, you simply you code, of course. Streamlit. So when you run your project, it's gonna open a window. Hopefully we all can see. Yeah. This is just an introduction to my project with some information about the developers and my partners. And here is the calculator. The first time we run this calculator, it takes some time because I'm also loading the project that I have already added to my file. So the first time it takes a little bit longer, but then Streamlit, every time you do a modification on your code or the user clicks on somewhere in the screen, it runs from top bottom again. So you have to use some tools that are available on Streamlit, such as cache. So you can cache some data. Let's see what is there. So for instance, here I'm caching the opening of my project. So every time I run or a modification happens there, the code runs again, but this thing has already been loaded first, so it won't be loading again. And here is the calculator that we developed. In hydrogen production, in prospective scenarios, we are working with foreground data and also background data. And the focus of this tool is both foreground and background. So here are some elements. You can choose which electrolyzer you're using, the capacity factor, everything. It calculates and it gives you some information that you already that it might be important for you. So in this case here, the numbers that we have, they are mimicking a project in south of Spain. It's called Iberdrola. It's one of the biggest hydrogen plants actually built, because we don't have a lot of information on hydrogen because nobody has large-scale production. But what is interesting is that you can also couple PV systems with it. So when you click, there is a question, are you coupled with PV? And then if you say yes, it opens another window that allows you to choose where your PV system is going to be located. And then I do some data scraping here. And I connect my web app with the PVG's website that supplies me with information from solar panels. So I can integrate this data into my assessment. And I'm gonna just choose here the south of France. And what is important for you to know here is that I don't have any skills on programming. I'm just someone who is very curious and who wants to do things. Everything here was done through ChatGPT. So you don't have to worry so much about learning everything. You can simply ask, because one of the things I learned is that nobody actually knows how to do things. We just ask around, and now we have a very good friend, which is Chat, and we can ask him in this case. So I had some fun. I built a little GIF, and you can also enjoy, building these applications. So for instance, here you can see that if your battery is coupled, you have a GIF that shows you the way that electricity flows. And if it's not coupled, the GIF changes into something different. So you can do this kind of funny stuff. And here it's an interesting part of the project, because when you are producing electricity from PV farms, usually you have surplus electricity produced during the day, and then this is sent to the grid. And at night or during rainy days, you collect this electricity back, you retrieve it back from the grid as a credit. But this is something that physically you are consuming electricity from the grid, even though you are allocating the impact to your PV system. But this is about to change. So currently we are in a month allocating situation, but from 2030, we're expecting to have an hourly allocation. And since this data that I scraped from the PVG's website is an hourly based data, so I collect data hour by hour, I have zero allocation here, so there is 0 credits. So this shows that, for instance, Iberdrola, that is claiming they have 100% green hydrogen today, if they use their same methods for claiming green hydrogen, which is produced 100% from green electricity, they won't be able to do this when the regulation changes for the temporal correlation allocation. And here also some of the calculations that are useful to the partners, you can also add them here. And here is one of the interesting parts, because unfortunately you cannot see what is behind this, the preparation of this data, but we have 36 different databases that we create using Premise, and also creating the grid electricity market for France. So you can select whatever configuration or whatever scenario you would like to. And you can also choose to apply IAMs or not into those future scenarios. And then you compute results. And here is the part that we are still developing, because so far we only have plain LCA results. But it's going to be interesting in the future to actually extract PDFs and documents with a lot of details about your choices. Because if you look up, you have done several choices, and every time you change something here, you can also rerun your calculation and see how your results will change. So yes, we will have to wait a little bit for the computation. But this is basically my talk. I think we still have a lot of time. So I don't know if we should go into questions or simply finish. So we have results here. We can also change the location here, for instance. It takes some time, but this is because there is some room for improvement. An hour. I think you can come, Chris. And
there's a question from Karen asking if you would show the backend of it. Slide.
Oh yeah, no, I'll make this backend available as well. So usually there are 2 main files that you should prepare for this. One containing everything that it's not actually foreground, it's not actually using Streamlit, and the other one where the calculation is performed and where Streamlit interface is happens. So in utils, for instance, we have, let me see. I use algebraic, LCA algebraic to find activities. So each one of my electricities comes from a different database that I have uploaded and created via premise. Let me see. Some activities. Here we are creating the activities using LCA algebraic. So we define the production of hydrogen is through this function called new activity. And then we put all our inputs. And this electricity, 1 kilogram, is the electricity necessary to produce 1 kilogram of hydrogen. And this has been calculated previously in the calculator. And here is the percentage of the grid and the PV. We have some also, let's see, what is the cache? Okay. This is the data scraping part. So we are very fortunate that the website that we are extracting data from allows us to do. It hasn't prevented me from, taking information from them. So which is good. Sometimes this, I don't think this happens so easily. And then when you are creating your web app, you start by defining layouts and then writing whatever information you need through markdowns. But also you have some, so for instance, where is it? Sorry guys, it's going a bit fast. Where is it? Oh, here. So here are the, for instance, the way I used to build the way I build the selection for the database that you are selecting for the electricity market. So you inform everything here, and it's pretty standard and it's pretty basic. And I suggest that if someone wants to use the Streamlit, just begin by computing one very simple LCA and then going from there. That's how I started. You start just adding the inventories and the activities and computing and playing and testing, and in the end it's gonna work. I'm sure.
From Victor, if you plan to make a report.
Yes. No, I will. As soon as I find out how to, I will. One of the things interesting about Streamlit is that it makes use of something called session state. So since it runs everything from as we change the code and change the interface, the selection of the user, it runs again. You need some memory to retrieve to save some of the data that you have already worked with. So here you can see that you can compare the differences between the first and the second result. Unfortunately, here I still don't have the information on what has been changed, but this is because it's still under development. And then, of course, you can plot this and you can do whatever you want with this web app. And it also shows you one thing which is very interesting is it shows some examples, but I don't know where they are anymore. I think it have to leave the installation app gallery, and then you can check what other users have created as well, so you can get inspired. But I think all the web app applications also have this. So this is from another user, something that he created, and then you can copy them and check the source of their code as well. That's it.
Are there any questions here, physical?
Yeah. How do you share it with them? Thanks for the presentation. Like, how do you share it like with the members? Like, do you like share it just like an HTML file, or it's like you host it somewhere?
Yeah, Streamlit can host your web app, but it depends on how many databases and how heavy your project is. We also have a server, which we keep it there. But the problem for creating a link and sharing this with other people is making sure that they have the license for EcoInvent, and this is a bit of a headache that many people here have as well. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And so far, like, I have shared a link with you, but this link won't probably be working from tomorrow because we are not actually allowed to share with you the applications that we created due to the restrictions regarding our EcoInvent license.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.